Okay, I'm adding two plugs to the back of my camper. I'm going to have these come out with using a whip right here. I'm going to cut it out of this cord. And what this is going to do is I'm going to plug into the actual power box and not into the camper. So I'll have two plugs back here, one here, one on the other side. And I'm going to attach it through and basically have plugs on both sides, and it'll be run through an extension cord, not through the power in the camper. So I'll get back with you on the details on this as we go along. So here's where we're at. I've got a plug I'm going to hook up here, and it runs through over, and I have another plug over here. A lot of people will ask, well, why don't I just hook into the power on the camper? Well, I want to run a separate circuit because I've only got two circuits in the camper. And this one here will run mainly my outside lights and probably run a coffee pot off of it when I run it outside. So I'll have an extension cord that goes over to the power pole that'll be beside the camper, and then it'll have a separate circuit with this extension cord that'll plug into this right here. And I used to have just a 4-prong plug that set down and it set in the water, and everything else was very dangerous. So this is my way of getting away from that danger. And this will be on a ground fault circuit anyway, so if it was to get wet, it would automatically trip that circuit. So I'll get back with you in a little bit when I get this a little more back together. Okay, I'm just about done. I also want to add that if you don't know anything about electrical work, you probably shouldn't be doing this. It's not too complicated. I mean, you basically put the black wire on the black side, the white wire on the white side, and the green ground wire on the ground. But like I say, if you don't feel comfortable with it, you shouldn't be doing it. So a lot of people would say, why am I doing this? Well, like again, I've got the cord plugged in here, and it's plugged into the house. And then what I do is I normally have that plugged into the main power supply that's over here on the side of your camper, and it'd be a separate circuit. That way I can run a coffee pot, fry pan, whatever I want off of this. Don't have to worry about circuit breakers inside the camper. So it's just a plug base basically for an extension cord. You run an extension cord over, instead of having it set in the water, it runs over, plugs into this, and then you have two plugs here, which I'll have my lights that go on the A-frame over the top on both sides. Then I'll have an additional plug that I can bring out and have a surge protector on that where I have my hot plate or coffee pot. So for each their own on campers, but this is kind of going to work out well for me, I think. This side I left off for now, just to show you. I did use a water resistant plug. It does have these covers that work real well, but I think that's just an extra added thing. It's got the little plastic pieces that are actually in the actual plug. That way, even if that thing wasn't sealed, it would still keep water from getting in. Also on this end piece here where I put the whip here for plugging it into extension cord, I've got all plugged up with silicone. Try to keep that watertight. The screws that run through the frame, I actually put silicone around each one of them to keep any water from getting into the frame and rusting that little bumper on the back there. So I think this is going to work out well for my use. And if you have any other ideas of what you've done electrically on your camper, add it into the comments. Let me know what you think.